In this video, we are continuing our discussion about on-page SEO factors, and we're going to kick this off talking about quality content. You want to write easy to read text on your website. This is content that's easy to digest and easy for people to follow. Avoid spelling and grammar mistakes. Believe it or not, spelling does count when it comes to Google. And the reason is that they know if you have poorly written content, it's not going to be a win for them to serve that up to their users. They want to serve only the highest quality content. Now, some people may argue and say, their algorithms may or may not pick it apart based on that, but they're going to find factors like people are bouncing off your website quickly, they're leaving your page, they're not spending much time on your site, and in the end it hurts you ultimately because people want to read quality content. Avoiding spelling and grammar mistakes is a great way to start with good content. Stay organized with your topic. Use spacing, paragraphs, headlines, those types of things. The reason you want to do this is because if somebody lands on your page and it's just a long list, like it's just a long paragraph that maybe is 10 sentences long, it's not easy on the eyes. You want to have spacing, you want to have short paragraphs, headlines that kind of separate each point. That way people can quickly skim through your content and get the gist of what they want. People want to have easy to read, easy to digest content. If your content is too difficult to go through, people will actually leave your website and not come back. Create fresh and unique content. That's extremely important. Don't copy existing content on the web. Now, we do talk about curating content as a way to get good quality content. That's a totally different story. That's where you maybe take an article or a quote or a thought from another resource and you link to that resource and you give a paragraph or two of unique content or more, sharing what you don't like, what you agree with, don't agree with related to that content that you shared. You could also curate a list of maybe 10, 15, 25, 100 different resources, if you will, and actually share all those in one article and maybe give a sentence or two reviews to why you picked this or why this would be a good article to look through, why this is good content, why you chose it, why you value it. And so that's a different story. Now, we're not talking about going online, finding an article in an article directory, slapping it on your website. That stuff used to work, but this is the new age of SEO where you need to have unique, fresh, and quality content that's up to date. Use your own spin on the content that you create. Be very unique about it. People love to buy from people. They love to purchase. They love to follow people. So if you are a human being to them, if they can tell you're a person and not just a robot, and you have a unique voice where you're not just pulling content from other people, and you are yourself in your content, or your content creator self comes through, meaning it's good content written by a good writer, then it's going to help you ultimately. Think about your users and not the search engines. So important. I know it sounds funny because we're talking about SEO here, but when you're creating your content, think about your users. What are they going to get out of your content? Is it going to benefit them? Is it going to improve their lives? Are they going to be able to find the information they want? Look at it from that angle and you will be in great shape. Don't hide content like white font on a white background. That's some things people used to do within their content. They used to think, oh, I don't want to show my users that I have keywords in here or that I'm stuffing keywords, but I want to do that with Google and I'm going to hide the keywords for Google. Don't do that. Google knows how to pick that up. That's one of the older SEO methods that used to work that no longer works, and it lumps right up in there with keyword stuffing. And again, always think about your users and not the search engines when you're creating your content. Don't overuse keywords in your content. It's not friendly to your people reading the content, and again, search engines will pick up on that. Unique content. We talked about quality content. Now we're going to talk about unique content. Search engines want to see unique content. Unique content means content that you've created only for your website or blog. It's not found all over the web. It's unique to your website. It can only be found there. It can't be found all over the place. It's not syndicated all over the web and you just copied and pasted it. If you do that, always, preface whatever you copy and paste again with a link to the resource, and then also don't include the entire copy of the article. And if you really do that, then write in your own paragraph or two opinion or why you chose it, why it's valuable. Always add unique value to it. Ideas for creating unique content include write articles yourself or have a paid team create content for you. That's where outsourcing comes in, but make sure they understand your content creation goals and your needs. You need quality, unique content. Reference other articles or lists of content. but include your own spin on it when you do that. We talked about that briefly on the last slide. Embed a video from YouTube to drive home a point, but include a unique thought on that video above it and or below it. And we've mentioned that as well as a strategy. When sharing any content, always give your opinion on that content piece. What did you like? What did you not like? And I'm stressing this point because it's a really cool way people can create content that a lot of people don't necessarily do. For e-commerce sites, steer clear of using the manufacturer descriptions. If you have an e-commerce website and the products you are carrying, whether it's products you bought wholesale or it's products that you're having drop shipped from a supplier or from the manufacturer, be very careful about just slapping on the manufacturer descriptions. Write a unique description, write a unique story about that product. It's amazing how stories sell. Good quality copy and unique content will help you stand out from the pack. It's going to help you sell more content, and ultimately it's going to increase your search engine rankings because you're adding something unique and fresh in the eyes of the search engines, and they're going to reward you for that. Rewrite each description to be unique to your site. Either you do it yourself or preferably you outsource it to somebody that's a good writer for you. Be creative and improve upon what they have included. If you are using private label rights content to make, to create your value, that means content that you can repurpose, that you could make your own, whether it's from an ebook or articles. Those are fine to use because they're great for getting ideas from, but it's also something that you need to make sure it's completely rewritten and that the beginning of it is different, the title is not the same, have a totally unique title, totally unique beginning and end. In the middle of it, make sure you're rearranging the content. It's really good to use PLR material, maybe combine it together, and then also put your own spin on it, incorporate additional things, use it as kind of a model or an idea for phrases. Or you could take PLR articles and outsource it. Say, hey, could you rewrite these so they're 100% unique? And this has some good research in it though, so I would like to apply these here. So you can still use PLR for content, and it's a quick way to get ideas made, but you still need to make it 100% your own, 100% unique, so it's not found on the web. Be careful when creating content not to copy directly from the source, especially if you're going out there pulling content from another source. That is a mistake people can make. They could actually go out there and think, hey, I'm citing this resource and not thinking about it. Next thing you know, they're just typing away and it's the exact same content. So be very careful of when you're going out to get resources because you need to do research. A good quality content that's unique and that's going to be valuable is well-researched content. Search engines users want unique information, and that's why they want to rank websites which give unique information. Always think what is best for the searchers, meaning the search engine users, the people that are on Bing, on Yahoo, on Google. Duplicate content. This is an important on-page factor to watch out for. Having the same content on your site hurts freshness and uniqueness. So that means you want to be fresh, you want to be unique, you want Google to look at you as, hey, this guy has quality content that's also unique and that can't be found all over the web. Ways you can unknowingly have duplicate content are some of these factors. Company mission statement or quotes at the bottom of every page. Believe it or not, a lot of companies will end up doing this. They will have like a company mission statement or they'll have a quote about their company which shows up at the bottom of every single page. If you want to have that, put it into an image. Put it into an image, like take a screen capture of it written out in text or make it kind of look cool, or if you have a cool quote you want to use, and just make it an image and use that instead of a written content on every page. And that way you can still have it, but you're not actually applying the same content across all the pages on your website. Duplicate content mainly applies to having the same content found multiple times within your site. That's a big no-no. Now, some people argue and say, obviously for freshness and uniqueness, you still want to have unique content. You want to try and be as unique as possible. People used to teach with SEO, as I did myself, used to teach that duplicate content, was okay is if you're pulling sources from other things, and it used to be back in the day, meaning if you took content from other sites and you had it on your site. But now you need to be very unique. You need to be very careful about being unique, and that's kind of a way to kind of barricade yourself from all these search engine changes. And it helps you if you apply these factors of having unique quality content. Avoid duplicate content that's found on other sites, and most importantly, by all means on your own site, don't take the same article and reuse it 5 different times on your website. That's not okay, and search engines will pick that up, but you can actually accidentally, unknowingly be using duplicate content, as I'm pointing out here. Things like the company mission statement or quote at the bottom of every page. Duplicate title tags. We talked about that as well. When you're doing title tags, you want to have unique title tags for every page of your site. That's a good practice for SEO reasons because it's going to help you get rankings. Also for the duplicate content, so you don't suffer that duplicate content penalty. Do a site search in Google to view your title tags. So again, that search phrase for the site is site yourdomain.com. Site yourdomain.com. You don't need to use the quotes. I use that as an example to show you, but it'd be site and then yourdomain.com. So site firstgolftips.com if you had a golf website and that's what the URL was. Site easysurvivalgear.com. So those would be ways that you could actually do a duplicate search to see, hey, am I using the same title tag on all these pages? And if so, rewrite those title tags so they're unique to that page, so you will help that page rank. Look at the blue listings in Google to see if the same title tags are being indexed over and over. That's a bad thing. That means Google could be looking at your site as somebody that has duplicate content that's not unique on all your pages. Use unique title tags to improve your rankings on each one of those pages, and you may find an overall impact if you went back through and edited those or had somebody on your team do that or somebody in your company. Similar product descriptions. Rewriting descriptions for products with similar descriptions. We touched on that as a very important part to being unique. Same thing goes with duplicate content. Sometimes if you have the same products, so let's say you have a blue version or you have a different size of a certain product, you may actually use the exact same description. So consider adding maybe a drop down menu or use options instead of having that product set up as a different product for each time. It's going to be easier for the user. And again, it all comes down to what's easiest for your user. And if it's easiest for them to just do a drop down, then see if you can incorporate that on your e-commerce site. Instead of having the same description, but maybe just a different size or something on there, it's going to be, may look kind of funny to the user, maybe difficult for them and to the search engines. Accidental indexing of archiving pages for WordPress users. So if you're on WordPress, you oftentimes will have a page called archives. Sometimes that page can get indexed. So if you use SEO plugins like Yoast or All-in-One SEO, they will actually prevent this from happening. Dynamic links is another thing that you could be doing. It can cause search engines to index multiple pages of content by accident. So that's something else to keep in mind. And what will happen with dynamic links is they will actually create, and we'll talk about them later on, but they will actually create unique pages, actually unique URLs, I should say, with the same content on it. So if you're using dynamic links, you need to watch out for that as well to make sure that the same page you have isn't being indexed 5 different times with the same content. Another thing, again, is utilizing plugins to prevent the accidental indexing of archive pages. And then make sure you don't add pages of the same content just to have new pages. That's a mistake people used to make back in the day when SEO was easy. They knew that Google wanted to see, as they called them, websites that were high authority websites, in a sense, where high authority website back in the day meant a site with more pages of content. And again, that ship has sailed long time ago. And it's so important now that instead of worrying about having a quantity of pages, it's more important to have a quality number of pages. So make sure you don't add pages of the same content. It's better to have fewer pages of content than duplicate content pages. Keep that in mind. Again, it's all about the quality of your content and not the quantity of your content. On-page SEO, page freshness is another important factor that we'll talk about. Search engines want their users to find the most up-to-date content. That's just how it is. That's how they're set up. They're there for their users, and you need to be there for your users as well with that information. Keeping your content fresh will help your users and your rankings. Ways you can impact and improve your site's freshness here's multiple ways you could actually do that. Create articles that impact your niche based on current news topics or news happenings. Significantly change your outdated articles or blog posts. Don't only change one sentence. So if you have an article, maybe it dates back to 2012 and it might be the top weight loss tips of 2012, you could update that article to the top weight loss tips of 2014. Instead of just changing the title, though, go in there and find new improved weight loss tips or weight loss methods, new improved ways to improve your relationship, new improved sources that maybe you're sharing on that article of WordPress plugins. Maybe it's, top WordPress plugins of 2012. We'll go back, change that to top WordPress plugins of 2014. Oftentimes those ones from 2012 will be obsolete, so you could switch those out. top places to get backlinks for 2015. Those are ways that you could actually pick up and improve upon your content. Don't only change one sentence. Add new pages of content and articles each year. So add new articles, all the time, new pages of content. Maybe take those existing pages, and this could be a page where you go into your Google Analytics and you find that there are people just landing on this page, but they're bouncing off there. You have a high bounce rate of 90% to 100%, meaning 90 to 100% of the people that land on that page are leaving that page within a few seconds. Then that tells you, hey, this content is outdated. I need to either edit this content or just, get rid of this page altogether. Now, if it's a page getting a lot of traffic, then you do need to go in and really make sure you edit that content, clean it up, get it so people want to stay there, and then that's going to ultimately help your site overall because it's going to be fresh. No specific number, is needed for articles. One thing, rule of thumb, maybe add 20 to 30% new pages each year. Number of new pages varies by website. Again, it just depends. If you have a really big website, 20% to 30% is a lot of pages. Now, if you have a smaller website with maybe 100 pages, that might be 20 new articles or new blog posts or new pieces of content throughout the year. It's not that bad. Update and date specific pieces of content to the current year or recent months if it's applicable. And when you do that, maybe modify the resources so they are up to date a little bit. Modify above the fold content on each important page. When I say above the fold content, I mean on any particular page on your site that maybe has information that's important to your business or an important page that's always going to be there. Modify that content that is above the fold, meaning the page, when they land on that page, whether mainly when they're on their computer or if they're on their mobile phone even, if they have to scroll to see that content, especially on your computer, if they're having to scroll, then that content that they see when they land on your page, that is above the fold. Now, all the content below it is below the fold. The most important part is that your content above the fold is fresh, it's updated, it's unique, it makes sense. So make sure you do a quality control check on your content to make sure it is fresh. Google views content above the fold on main pages as important. And we're talking like, things like your About Us page, everything from your main homepage, maybe your main store page, the pages that people frequent a lot. Those would be pages like your main news page, your press page. Make sure those things are up to date with quality content. It doesn't mean you need to do this for every page, but do it for your most important pages, even your most important articles that are getting the most content or that you tend to link out to the most. Obtain links from other fresh websites. And when I say fresh websites, I mean websites that are new, that are unique, that have good content, that have updated content, that rank well in the search engines. Try and get backlinks from them. See if there's a way you could be a guest blogger for them. See if there's a way that you could reference them in one of your posts and then exchange, say, hey, I mentioned you here. Maybe they'll add you to a resources page. Add a blog to your website if you don't have one already. Blogging is one of the quickest ways that you can actually increase your freshness. Focus on providing the best content possible to your users, and that's going to ultimately help your page freshness. This involves doing a routine quality check of your current content pieces to make sure they are up to date, as we pointed out. But adding a blog, that's one of the best things you can do for ongoing freshness factor, so you can actually get that onto your website. Now we're going to shift gears and talk a little bit about keywords in your content. So we're really focused in this video here on content related things related to on-page SEO. Content is king. It's the most important factor. It's what people are out there seeking on the internet. It's what the search engines provide to users, and therefore you need to get your content right if you want to have an effective SEO strategy. Make it a point to include your keywords in your content only where it flows and makes sense. Quit trying to get the perfect keyword density. That again is a thing of the past. People will get caught up in that. There's even some SEO experts that'll try and tell you that, hey, you need to have a certain dialed in keyword density of 3.25 per page percent. And that's just way too technical. You don't need to do that. There's no perfect keyword density out there. That ship has also sailed, along with many other outdated SEO methods. The new way to do SEO, the SEO that we call the new SEO, the SEO that's going to be here to stay, hopefully 10 years down the road if all the things change. Even if everything changes, content's always going to be the key. It's always been there since the start of the search engines, and it's going to be the king as things go on. So incorporating your keywords into your content is important, but only where it makes sense, and there's no perfect number of keywords. That does not exist. Every article, blog post, or product description will have a different number, if it makes sense. Stuffing keywords leads to content that does not flow or sound proper. Poor quality content will keep visitors and search engines away. Plain and simple. Try to use your keywords in the first paragraph and the last paragraph if it works, because again, search engines robots, spider bots will read top to bottom, left to right. And so if it makes sense, try to use your keywords in the first paragraph and in the last paragraph. Your keyword should have the highest density on the page if that's your main keyword. So if you are doing it, the only keyword density, and when I say keyword density, I mean, based on the number of words. Let's say it's a 500 word article and your keyword shows up 4 times. You would divide 4 into 500, and that would be your keyword density, to give you an idea. So for that example here, your keyword should have the highest density on the page, which I believe that would come out to be about 8%. Keyword density in that particular example. So your keyword should have the highest density on that page. So it also means, like, whatever your keyword phrase is, that should be the highest, but there's no certain percentage that it should be. It shouldn't be at a 3.25 or 5.5 or whatever it is. There's no perfect keyword density percentage. The key factor here is that your main keyword should have the highest density on the page. Even if it's a 1% density or a 5% density, there shouldn't be another keyword phrase that's dominating that one. The reason is because you want to make sure Google is not confused at all. That means you have the keyword in the title tag, you have the keyword in a header tag if it makes sense, and you're using it maybe in the opening paragraph and possibly in the closing paragraph. That way there's no confusion from Google as to what your keyword is about on that page. This tells the search engines exactly what your page is about. Now, another factor, tools like the Yoast plugin, that will also actually tell you what your keyword density is, and it does a really good job of that. Used in conjunction with other on-page elements, you can seriously boost your rankings if you have if you have good density of your actual keyword compared to the other keyword phrases, because you want to make sure, again, that Google knows 100% that your page is about that particular keyword based on the title tag, H1 tag, and also using it in the content. So in the next video, we're going to talk about even more on-page SEO ranking factors.